The rain pelted the windows of the Uber like a relentless drumbeat, turning the streets of Seattle into a watery haze. It had been for long years since I'd set foot in this city, for years of chasing illusions in Los Angeles, where the sun always shone but never quite warmed the emptiness inside me. At 26, I was returning not as a conqueror, but as a refugee from my own ambitions. My budding career as a screenwriter had fizzled out in a sea of rejections. My last relationship had imploded in a spectacular mess of accusations and slammed doors. And now, I was crawling back to the one place that still felt like a safety net, even if it came with strings attached. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror, his voice cutting through the static of the wipers. "Nasty night to be traveling. You from around here?" "Born and raised," I replied, forcing a half smile. "Just been away too long." He nodded sympathetically. "Homecomings can be rough. Hope it's a good one." I hoped so too, but my gut churned with a cocktail of excitement and anxiety. The house, a cozy Victorian with peeling blue paint and a wraparound porch, loomed ahead as we pulled up. Lights flickered in the windows like beacons, and I could already picture the familiar chaos inside. Books stacked haphazardly on shelves, the faint scent of fresh-baked bread, and the low hum of conversation that always seemed to fill the air. I tipped the driver generously, slung my duffel bag over my shoulder, and dashed through the downpour to the front door. My knock echoed louder than I intended, amplified by the storm. The door creaked open, and there she was, my mom. Her face lighting up like a sunrise, despite the worry lines etched around her eyes. "Mia." "Oh, honey, you're drenched." She pulled me into a hug that squeezed the rain right out of my coat. She smelled like chamomile tea and old books, the essence of comfort I'd craved during those lonely nights in L.A. "My mom," I murmured, hugging her back fiercely. "Missed you." She held me at arm's length, scanning me with that maternal radar. "You've lost weight. And those bags under your eyes, have you been sleeping? Come in, let's get you dry. I'll make some tea." I stepped inside, the warmth enveloping me like a blanket. The foyer hadn't changed much. Family photos lined the walls, capturing frozen moments of happier times me as a kid with pigtails. Mom and Dad before the divorce, and newer ones from after Mom remarried. That's when things got ... complicated. 4 years ago, she tied the knot with Robert, a quiet architect with a gentle smile and a knack for fixing things around the house. He'd been a widower, bringing his daughter into our lives. Harper, she was 19 when I left. Awkward and introspective, with a passion for painting that mirrored my own creative fire. "Where's Robert?" I asked, peeling off my wet jacket and hanging it on the coat rack. "Working late at the office some big redesign project for a downtown high-rise. You know how he gets buried in blueprints." Mom rolled her eyes fondly. "But he'll be thrilled you're here. We've all missed you. All of us." The words hung in the air, unspoken, but heavy. I swallowed hard. "And Harper, is she ... around?" Mom's gaze softened, a knowing glint in her eyes that made my cheeks flush. "She's in the living room, working on one of her sketches. She's turned into quite the artist, you know. Sold a few pieces at local galleries. Go say hi while I heat up some soup. Your room's all set up just like you left it." My pulse quickened as I padded down the hallway, the wooden floors creaking under my feet like old secrets. Soft, indie folk music drifted from the living room, something acoustic and melancholic. Maybe Bon Iver. The scent of charcoal pencils and fresh canvas hit me first. Followed by the sight of her, Harper sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by scattered sketchbooks and art supplies. She'd changed so much. At 23 now, she'd shed the gangly teenager vibe I'd remembered. Her auburn hair cascaded in loose waves down her back, longer than before, and she wore a simple, oversized sweater that hugged her frame just right. Her focus was intense, her brow furrowed as she shaded something on the page's cityscape, maybe, or a portrait. She moved with a graceful precision, her fingers dancing over the paper like they held the weight of the world. "Smells like creativity in here," I said softly. Leaning against the doorframe, she froze, pencil hovering mid-stroke. For a split second, the room seemed to hold its breath. Then she looked up, and her eyes locked. God, she was stunning. Her features had sharpened with time-high cheekbones, full lips, and those piercing green eyes that always seemed to see right through me. They widened in surprise, then sparkled with genuine delight, before clouding with something deeper, more vulnerable, Mia. Her voice was a whisper, laced with disbelief. She set the pencil down carefully, as if afraid the moment might shatter. You're really here? In the flesh, I replied, trying to keep my tone light, even as my heart hammered. Surprise visit. Or, well, surprise extended stay. She unfolded herself from the floor, standing with a fluidity that made my stomach flip. We'd always been close to close, maybe from the moment our parents introduced us at that awkward family dinner 5 years ago. I was 22 then, fresh out of college and full of restless energy. She was 18, still in high school, navigating the loss of her mom with quiet resilience. What started as polite small talk evolved into late-night confessions on the porch swing, sharing dreams under the stars. She'd show me her early sketches, raw and emotional, depicting worlds of fantasy and heartbreak. I'd read her excerpts from my scripts. She'd offer insights that cut straight to the core, seeing layers I hadn't even intended. But then the lines blurred. A shared glance that lingered too long, a brush of hands during a movie night that sent sparks racing up my arm. The night before I fled to L.A., we'd been alone in the backyard, stargazing. Her head on my shoulder, the air thick with unspoken words. "Don't go," she'd whispered, her voice breaking. I'd pulled away, terrified of what admitting my feelings would mean for our family. For us stepsisters, it was impossible. Forbidden. So I ran, burying myself in Hollywood's glitter to forget the pull she had on me now. Standing here, that pull was stronger than ever. The air crackled with it like static before a storm. "How's L.A. treating you?" Harper asked, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Her voice was steady, but I caught the slight tremor. "Was treating me," I corrected with a wry smile. Past tense. The dream didn't pan out. Scripts rejected, boyfriend turned out to be a jerk. You know, the usual Hollywood tragedy? Her expression softened, concern etching lines on her forehead. "I'm sorry. That sounds rough, but does that mean you're staying? For a while, at least?" I shrugged, stepping closer despite the warning bells in my head. "Yeah, need to recharge, figure out what's next. Maybe even dust off some old ideas." She nodded, her eyes searching mine. "I've missed our talks. The house felt quieter without you." Guilt twisted in my chest. "I've missed you too." More than I let myself admit. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Hanging between us like a confession, Harper's breath caught, and for a moment neither of us spoke. The music swelled in the background, a haunting melody that mirrored the turmoil inside me. She reached out hesitantly, her fingers grazing my arm just like that night years ago. The touch was electric, sending warmth flooding through me. "I didn't pull away this time, Mia. She trailed off, her cheeks flushing. "Things have changed, but not everything." Before I could respond, Mom's voice called from the kitchen. "Dinner's almost ready. Harper, can you set the table?" Harper dropped her hand, stepping back with a small, rueful smile. "Duty calls. But we should catch up later." "Really catch up?" "Yeah," I agreed, my voice hoarse. "I'd like that." She moved past me. Our shoulders brushed, and I felt that familiar spark ignite. Dinner was a whirlwind. Rayford arrived home just in time, enveloping me in a bear hug and peppering me with questions about L.A. Mom fussed over the food. A hearty lasagna with garlic bread that filled the house with comforting aromas. We laughed over old stories, reminisced about family vacations, and for a while, it felt normal. But every time my eyes met Harper's across the table, the undercurrent of tension pulled at me after dinner. As Mom and Robert retired to the den for their evening ritual of herbal tea and crosswords, Harper and I found ourselves alone on the porch swing. Wrapped in blankets against the lingering chill, the rain had eased to a drizzle, pattering softly on the roof. "Tell me about your art," I said, breaking the silence. "Mom says you're selling pieces now. That's amazing." She smiled shyly, pulling out her phone to show me photos of her work, vibrant abstracts, swirling with color. Portraits that captured raw emotion. It's been my escape. After you left, I poured everything into it. The confusion, the longing. It helped. My heart ached. Harper, about why I left, don't, she interrupted gently. I get it. We were young. The timing was wrong. Our parents. The whole step-sibling thing. It's complicated. But it doesn't feel complicated, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. Not anymore. Being away made me realize how much you mean to me. Not just as family. Her eyes shimmered in the porch light. I felt the same way for years. I tried dating, tried moving on, but no one understood me like you do. It's like, you're the missing piece. We sat there, the swing creaking softly, as the truth we'd both buried finally surfaced. No trumpets, no grand declarations, just quiet honesty in the rain-soaked night. And we sat there, the swing creaking softly, as the truth we'd both buried finally surfaced. No trumpets, no grand declarations, just quiet honesty in the rain-soaked night. And as her hand found mine, intertwining our fingers, I knew this was the start of something we'd both been searching for all along. Home wasn't just the house. It was her. And maybe, just maybe, love had been whispering to us the whole time. The days that followed blurred into a tentative rhythm. I helped Mom in the garden, planting bulbs for spring while she shared updates on neighborhood gossip. Robert and I bonded over coffee, discussing architecture and how it mirrored storytelling both about building worlds from blueprints. But the real pull was Harper. We'd steal moments, early morning walks along the misty waterfront, where we'd talk about our fears and dreams. Afternoons in her makeshift studio, where I'd watch her paint and she'd ask for my input on colors that evoked certain emotions. One evening, about a week in, we ventured out to a local art gallery where Harper had a piece on display. The space was buzzing with people, hipsters, sipping wine, critics murmuring appreciatively. Her painting, a stormy seascape symbolizing inner turmoil, hung proudly on the wall. As she mingled, I watched her glow, confident and alive. Pride swelled in me, mixed with that ever-present ache. Later, as we walked home under streetlights, she slipped her arm through mine. Thank you for coming tonight. It meant a lot. Wouldn't miss it, I said. You're incredible, Harper. You always have been. She stopped, turning to face me. The city sounds faded, leaving just us. Mia, what are we doing? This ... us. It's not going away. I cupped her face, my thumb tracing her cheek. I don't want it to. Whatever this is, it's real. We'll figure out the rest. Our parents, the world, together. Her lips met mine then, soft and tentative at first, then deepening with years of pent-up longing. It was like coming alive after a long sleep. No more running. No more denying. Back home, we navigated the new reality carefully. We told Mom and Robert over breakfast one morning, bracing for shock or disapproval. To our surprise, Mom smiled knowingly. We've suspected for a while. Love doesn't always follow the rules. Just be happy and kind to each other. Robert nodded, squeezing Mom's hand. Family's what we make it. We're here for you both. And so, the whispers became conversations. The stolen glances became open affection. I stayed in Seattle, rebuilding my life not as an escape, but as a foundation. Harper and I grew together, her art inspiring my writing, our connection deepening into something unbreakable. Sometimes the person you've been searching for has been right there, waiting in the quiet spaces. And when you finally listen, love doesn't just whisper, it sings. She leaned against the island counter, watching him move through the kitchen like it was second nature. His hands were steady, slicing onions with precision, the knife flashing under the warm overhead lights. You're really good at this, she said, her voice soft with genuine admiration. He glanced up, a small smile tugging at his lips. Lots of practice. Been working at this Italian spot in the city center, Trattoria Bella. Started as a dishwasher. But Chef Maria took me under her wing. Says I've got the touch for pasta. He poured olive oil into the hot pan, a sizzle filling the air with a comforting aroma. Pride bloomed in her chest, warm and unexpected. That's incredible, Ryan. Seriously, I'm impressed. He paused, wiping his hands on a towel slung over his shoulder. Thanks, Sophia. Means a lot coming from you. His eyes met hers for a beat too long. Then he turned back to the stove. What about you? Still chasing storms with that camera of yours? She shrugged, fiddling with the edge of her sleeve. When I can. Lost a ton of gear when the agency downsized, but yeah, I can't quit. It's like breathing for me. I'd love to see your latest shots. The ones from that tornado season you mentioned last time we talked. I'd love to show you. The words hung between them, simple but loaded. Silence settled in, but it wasn't the awkward kind. It never had been with Ryan. Even after all these years. Being around him felt like slipping into a favorite old sweater, familiar and safe. No matter the chaos outside, I really did miss you, she admitted quietly, the confession slipping out before she could stop it. He froze, his grip tightening on the wooden spoon. Don't say stuff like that, Soph. Why not? He turned fully toward her, and the intensity in his dark eyes made her breath catch. Because I've spent 4 years trying to forget you, convincing myself that what happened between us, that spark, was all in my head. Those late-night talks on the porch, the way you'd laugh at my dumb jokes, the looks you'd give me when you thought I wasn't paying attention. And now you're back, standing in my kitchen, saying you missed me. It's messing with everything. Her heart pounded like a drum in her chest. You what? Finish that. Nothing. Just forget it. His voice was strained, clipped. He turned back to the sauce, stirring vigorously. Dinner's in about 25. Go unpack or something, Sophia. Please. He didn't look at her, but his shoulders were tense. Kay, she whispered, though every part of her wanted to push, to force the words out of him that had been buried for so long. But she heard her dad's truck rumbling up the driveway, her mom's laughter echoing from the hallway. Okay, but Ryan, I didn't imagine it. Whatever you felt, I felt it too. His back stiffened, but he said nothing. She left the kitchen, her hands trembling, her mind a whirlwind. Coming back to this small coastal town was supposed to be about healing, about piecing her life back together after the agency fallout. Instead, she'd stumbled right back into the unresolved mess with Ryan, the one person who'd always seen through her defenses, the one she'd never quite let go of. Dinner that night was a masterpiece of flavors and unspoken agony. Her dad, Mark, was his usual jovial self, clapping Ryan on the back and piling his plate high. This pasta is out of this world, kid. Maria's turning you into a pro. Her mom, Alina, beamed across the table, her eyes misty with contentment. It's so good to have the family together again. Both my kids home. Ryan ducked his head, a flush creeping up his neck. Thanks, Dad. The word hit Sophia like a wave. Mark had been more of a father to Ryan in the 6 years since the marriage than Ryan's absentee bio dad ever had. It was heartwarming, a testament to how blended families could work. But it also underscored the impossibility of whatever simmered between her and Ryan. They were step-siblings now, raised in the same house, sharing holidays and milestones. Blood or not, the world had labels, expectations. Crossing that line, it would shatter everything. The meal was exquisite al dente spaghetti, tangled with fresh basil, tomatoes bursting with summer ripeness, a hint of garlic that lingered perfectly. Sophia savored each bite, but her attention kept drifting to Ryan across from her, the way his fingers drummed lightly on the table when he was thinking, the rare, genuine grin when Elena complimented the sauce, and the deliberate avoidance of her gaze, like looking too long, might ignite something uncontrollable. Sophia, honey, Elena's voice pulled her back. I asked about your plans. Staying long? Looking for gigs here? She blinked, forcing a smile. Not sure yet. Maybe freelance some photography for local papers or weddings? Build the portfolio back up. I need to. Sort things out. You're only 26, Mark said kindly, reaching for more bread. Plenty of time to figure it out. And hey, it's nice having you under our roof again. Both our kids, Alina echoed, her hand squeezing Mark's. The phrase lingered like fog. Ryan finally met Sophia's eyes, and the raw conflict there mirrored her own turmoil, a mix of longing, guilt, and fear. After dinner, Sophia insisted on helping Ryan with the dishes while Lena and Mark retreated to the den for their evening ritual of tea and old movies. The kitchen felt smaller now, the clink of plates and rush of water amplifying the silence between them. "I'm sorry," she said eventually, handing him a soapy plate. "For earlier, I didn't mean to stir things up." "You did," he replied softly, taking the plate without touching her fingers. "But you also said what needed saying. The truth matters." He dried his hands on a dish towel and leaned against the counter, facing her. In the dim glow of the pendant lights, he looked vulnerable, his usual confidence stripped away. "Look, Soph, when you left for that big city job 4 years ago, it gutted me. Not because we were ever official or anything, but because of the what if. What if our parents hadn't met? What if we weren't thrown together like this? I've built a life here, job, buddies from the restaurant, even tried dating a few times." Jealousy twisted in her gut, sharp and unwelcome. "Anyone serious?" He shook his head, a rueful smile ghosting his lips. "Nah, nothing that stuck. Nothing that felt ... real. Anyway, point is, I was moving on. Or pretending to. And now you're here, and it's like no time passed. I'm right back to square one." "I get it," she said, stepping closer despite herself. The air between them crackled. "It's messy. Our parents, the house, the whole family label, all the reasons we shouldn't. Then why do you look at me like that?" His voice was low, challenging. "Like, what?" "Like you want to." "I don't know. Bridge this gap we've been dancing around." "'Cause I do," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I have since that summer before I left. Maybe even from the start." He closed his eyes, exhaling slowly. "Sophia, ... Not pushing for anything, just ... honesty. You wanted the truth? There it is. For years in the city, dating people who were fine, but never you. Trying to tell myself you're just my stepbrother. It never worked. What do you want from me?" he asked, opening his eyes, stormy and tense. "I don't know. Maybe just to know I'm not alone in this. That it's not all in my head?" He let out a ragged breath. "Of course it's not. It's the realest damn thing I've ever known. But acting on it, our parents are happy, Soph. We're a family unit. Society doesn't care about blood. We're siblings in their eyes." "We're not," she countered fiercely, her voice rising slightly. "We met when I was 22 and you were 20. Adults. No shared childhood memories. No blood ties. What I feel, ... It's not familial. Not even close. You think I don't feel the guilt? The shame?" He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. "Wondering why I can't just see you as my sister? Why every time you're near it's like gravity pulling me in." "There's nothing wrong with us," she insisted, her heart aching. "It's just ... complicated. Complicated doesn't begin to cover it." They stood there, inches apart, the weight of unspoken desires pressing down like an ocean current. From the den, Elena called out, "Kids, movie starting? Join us?" The moment shattered. Ryan straightened, composing himself. "Coming," he yelled back. Then, quieter to Sophia, "We can't. You know we can't."
I know.
But as he brushed past her toward the den, his fingers grazed her arm intentional. Electric hand, she knew knowledge and resistance were worlds apart. This homecoming was unraveling her more than she'd anticipated. The following days blurred into a haze of exquisite torment. Mornings started with the rich scent of fresh coffee wafting upstairs, drawing her to the kitchen where Ryan would be, hair tousled from sleep, pouring a mug in faded pajamas that hugged his frame just right. They'd exchange polite good mornings, orbiting each other carefully. Words measured to avoid sparking the fire simmering beneath. By day, she'd hole up in her old room now, a guest space with her childhood posters long gone hunched over her laptop. Editing photos from her last storm-chasing trip. She'd email editors, pitch stories about extreme weather patterns, try to rebuild the career that had crumbled under budget cuts. But concentration eluded her. Her mind wandered to Ryan's confession. the crack in his voice when he'd admitted, "It's the realest damn thing." Evenings brought family dinners. Alina and Mark chattering about town gossip or Mark's fishing trips, blissfully unaware of the undercurrent between their kids. Ryan's meals were symphonies risotto with wild mushrooms one night, grilled seafood the next, each dish showcasing his growing culinary prowess. Sophia would steal glances at his hands as he served, remembering that deliberate touch, her skin tingling at the memory. Nights were the hardest. Her room adjoined his, separated by a thin wall that amplified every creak, every sigh. She'd lie in the dark, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, wondering if he was awake too, wrestling the same demons. Sleep came fitfully, dreams tangled with what-ifs. On the fifth day, the dam broke. Alina and Mark had headed out for a weekend getaway to visit old college friends. Leaving the house echoing with emptiness and opportunity, the air hummed with unspoken potential, thick as humidity before a storm. Sophia found Ryan in the kitchen, as always, prepping for a simple dinner. Fresh herbs chopped, a pot simmering with broth. "Need a hand?" she asked from the doorway, her voice steadier than she felt. He looked up, surprise flickering across his face. "Yeah, sure." "Dice those carrots?" She joined him at the counter, their elbows nearly brushing. The silence stretched, not uncomfortable, but charged, like the sky before lightning. "Ryan," she started, her knife pausing mid-chop. "Yeah, we need to talk. Really talk. No more dodging." He set his own knife down, wiping his hands slowly. "Okay, shoot. I can't keep pretending everything's normal. Having you this close, day in and out tits torture. The looks, the touches, the almosts. It's killing me." He leaned back against the fridge, arms crossed. "You think it's easy for me? Every time I see you, it's like reopening a wound I thought had scarred over. Then why fight it?" She pressed, stepping into his space. "Our parents are gone for the weekend. No one's here to judge, 'cause it's not just about now," he said, his voice rough. "What happens after? We sneak around? Lie to Alina and Mark? Tear the family apart? Maybe it doesn't have to be like that. Maybe we talk to them," he laughed bitterly. "Yeah, right. Hey, Mom and Dad, turns out your stepkids are in love. That'll go over great, in love." The words escaped her, soft and stunned. Ryan's eyes widened, as if realizing what he'd said. Yeah. That's what this is, isn't it? For me, at least." Her breath hitched. "For me, too. God, Ryan, I've been half in love with you since that first summer we all lived together." He reached out then, his hand cupping her cheek, thumb tracing her jawline. The touch was fire, igniting everything they'd suppressed. Soph. She closed the distance, her lips meeting his, in a kiss that was years in the making. Tentative at first, and deepening with the weight of all the lost time. His arms wrapped around her, pulling her close, and for a moment, the world narrowed to just them, no labels, no guilt, just the truth they'd both been chasing. When they broke apart, breathless, he rested his forehead against hers. "This changes everything." "I know," she whispered, "but maybe that's okay. Maybe we figure it out together." The weekend stretched ahead, a fragile bubble of possibility. But deep down, Sophia knew the storm was coming. Family, society, the weight of expectations. For now, though in this kitchen that smelled of herbs and hope, they had each other. And that felt like enough. The tension in the air was thick, almost suffocating, as Alex stood in the dimly lit kitchen of their shared family home. He'd come back to town after years away, chasing his dreams in the bustling streets of Chicago. But now facing Jordan, everything felt like it was unraveling. Jordan stopped mid-sentence, his fists clenched in frustration, his dark eyes pleading. "I need to know what you're thinking, Alex. What you really want. Be honest with me, please." Alex met his gaze, those piercing blue eyes that had haunted his dreams for far too long. "I want you," he confessed, the words tumbling out like a dam breaking. "I've wanted you since the day our parents introduced us at that awkward family barbecue, even when I told myself it was just a fleeting crush. And now, being back here, seeing you every day, it's only intensified everything." He paused, swallowing hard against the lump in his throat. But it's messy. Our parents' marriage, the whole blended family dynamic. I don't want to cause pain to anyone we care about. Neither do I, Jordan replied, his voice raw with emotion, laced with a desperation that mirrored Alex's own turmoil. But I can't keep pretending. It's like I'm suffocating under the weight of it all. So, what do you propose we do? Alex asked, his heart pounding as he searched Jordan's face for answers. Jordan let out a bitter laugh, running a hand through his tousled brown hair. I don't know. Maybe I pack up and leave town. Act like these feelings are nothing. Go back to keeping my distance like we did before you left for Chicago? I don't want distance, Alex said softly, stepping closer despite the voice in his head screaming warnings. I can't bear the thought of avoiding you anymore. I don't either, Jordan admitted, his voice dropping to a whisper. He inched forward. And suddenly, Alex could smell his familiar scent, sandalwood mixed with a hint of fresh rain from the storm outside. It was intoxicating, pulling him in like a magnet. But what's the other option? We can't just date. We can't show up to holiday gatherings holding hands or explain to our parents that we're... He trailed off, his cheeks flushing. That we're what? Alex pressed, his pulse racing. I don't even have a label for this. Jordan's eyes locked onto his, searching for something clarity, maybe your permission. What are we, Alex? Really? It was the question Alex had dodged for years. Ever since their parents' whirlwind romance had thrown them together as stepbrothers, they weren't blood-related, but the world saw them as family. Yet deep down, it had always felt like more. Not siblings, despite the shared holidays and forced family photos. Not mere friends they'd bonded over late-night talks about dreams and fears, sharing secrets no one else knew. And definitely not lovers, though the thought had kept Alex up at night. A forbidden desire that both thrilled and terrified him. We're two souls who found each other in the chaos, Alex said at last. His voice steady, despite the storm inside. Two people trapped in a situation that's anything but simple. That's not enough for me, Jordan shot back, his tone fierce, eyes blazing with intensity. I need more. I need to know if it's the same for you. If your heart races when our eyes meet, if your palms sweat at the thought of being near me, if you toss and turn at night, picturing what it would be like to hold me, to kiss me, to cross every line society says we shouldn't. Alex's breath hitched, caught off guard by the raw honesty. Yes, he whispered, his voice trembling. All of it. Every single thing, then what now? Jordan was inches away, the heat from his body radiating like a fire in the cool kitchen air. Because I can't bottle this up anymore. 3 years of denial, it's breaking me. I don't have all the answers, Alex admitted, feeling vulnerable under that gaze. But maybe we start with truth. No more hiding, no more pretending. Let's just let it unfold and see. It's scary as hell, Jordan murmured, but he didn't pull away. Instead, he lifted his hand slowly, deliberately, giving Alex every chance to retreat. When Alex stayed rooted in place, Jordan's fingers brushed his cheek light as a whisper, but it sent sparks dancing across his skin. I've dreamed of this for so long, Jordan breathed, his thumb tracing a gentle path along Alex's jaw. Alex leaned into the touch, his eyes fluttering shut for a moment, savoring the electricity. Me too, Alex, ... Jordan's voice was a mix of awe and longing, a quiet invocation that made Alex's heart stutter. He opened his eyes, and the depth of emotion in Jordan's stare stole his breath. They were teetering on the brink of something profound, something that could shatter their world. We shouldn't, Alex said weakly, even as his body betrayed him, leaning closer. Our parents. This could destroy everything we've built as a family. No, Jordan agreed, his thumb now grazing Alex's lower lip, sending shivers down his spine. It could blow up in our faces. But if I walk away without kissing you now, I'll regret it forever. The room seemed to shrink around them, the only sounds their ragged breaths and the distant hum of the refrigerator. Alex's heart thundered in his ears. Then kiss me, he said, the words barely audible but filled with certainty. Jordan did. His lips met Alex's tentatively at first, a soft exploration, as if testing the reality of the moment. But then Alex responded, a small gasp escaping him, part surprise, part overwhelming need on the damn burst. The kiss turned fervent, hungry, years of suppressed desire pouring out. Jordan's hands threaded through Alex's hair, tugging gently, while Alex's arms wrapped around Jordan's waist, pulling him flush against him. Jordan tasted like mint from his gum, and the sweetness of unspoken promises, like freedom after a long imprisonment. When they finally parted, gasping for air, Jordan rested his forehead against Alex's. "Oh God," he whispered, his voice shaky. "What have we done?" "I don't know," Alex replied, his body still trembling from the intensity. "And right now I don't care." "We should care," Jordan said, but he made no move to step back. His fingers lingered in Alex's hair, tracing patterns that soothed and excited all at once. "This is huge." "Probably," Alex agreed, a small smile tugging at his lips despite the gravity. "But I can't regret it. I can't regret us." Jordan pulled back slightly, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "This changes it all, I know." Alex felt a surge of protectiveness. What if our parents discover this? What if it tears everything apart? Jordan's expression darkened with fear, his voice cracking. "We'll handle it. Somehow." Alex cupped Jordan's face in his hands, thumbs wiping away the tears that had started to fall. "Hey, eyes on me. We'll navigate this together. No matter what, how?" Jordan asked, leaning into the touch, his vulnerability laid bare. "What?" "I don't have a plan yet," Alex said honestly. "But I'm not bolting this time. I'm here for you, promise." Jordan's voice was small, hopeful, "I promise." Alex kissed the tears from his cheeks, tasting the salt of relief and shared pain. "We'll keep it under wraps for now, until we know how to break it to them. We wait for the right moment." Jordan nodded, stepping back to compose himself, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. "We need to think this through logically." He began pacing the kitchen floor, a habit Alex knew well from their late-night study sessions. Back in high school, Jordan always paced when unraveling a problem. "Our parents are solid. They're in love, and they adore us both. If we pursue this, we can't let it jeopardize their happiness. We can't force them to choose sides." "Absolutely," Alex agreed. Watching Jordan's rhythmic steps, the way his jeans hugged his frame, memories flooding back of stolen glances over the years. "Which means we have to be certain," Jordan continued, stopping to face Alex.
"How, really?"
"Certain. Because if this is just some fleeting lust or rebellion—" "It's not," Alex interrupted firmly. "Jordan, this isn't superficial. You know that." Jordan's pacing halted, and he met Alex's eyes. "Then tell me what it is. Be real with me." Alex took a deep breath, the words forming on his tongue after years of silence. "I think I'm in love with you. Or maybe I have been all along." For years now, the confession hung heavy in the air, vulnerable and unfiltered. Jordan's face softened, emotions warring across his features. Shock, joy, fear. "Don't say that if you don't mean it." "I mean every word," Alex said, closing the distance. "It's complicated. Yeah, and maybe a bit insane, but no one's ever made me feel this way. And I doubt anyone ever will." "Alex," Jordan whispered, tears streaming freely now, but a smile breaking through. "I love you too. I think it started that first night at the barbecue. When you shared your sketches with me and actually listened to my ramblings about architecture, you saw me the real me when no one else did. So what next?" Alex asked, his voice thick with emotion. "We try," Jordan said with a shaky laugh. "We figure out how to build something real without crumbling the foundation around us. Can I kiss you again?" Alex asked, his hands already reaching out. "Please." This time, the kiss was unhurried, a deep exploration filled with tenderness rather than just urgency. They savored each moment, Jordan's hand sliding under Alex's shirt to trace the lines of his back, Alex's fingers knotting in Jordan's hair. Soft sighs escaped as Alex trailed kisses along Jordan's jawline, down to the sensitive spot on his neck, eliciting a quiet moan that sent heat pooling in Alex's core. "Bedroom," Jordan murmured against his lips, his breath hot and uneven. "Not here in the kitchen, too exposed." "Good call." They stumbled toward Jordan's room, lips barely parting, hands roaming with newfound freedom. Once inside, Jordan shut the door with, "Good call." They stumbled toward Jordan's room, lips barely parting, hands roaming with newfound freedom. Once inside, Jordan shut the door with a soft click and leaned against it, staring at Alex with a mix of disbelief and wonder. Is this actually happening? Or am I dreaming? It's real, Alex assured him, stepping close to pull him into another embrace. Complicated, but real. I fantasized about this endlessly, Jordan confessed, his cheeks reddening. But in my mind, you were always off in Chicago, building your art career, and I was stuck here, designing buildings that felt as empty as I did. It seemed so out of reach. Not out of reach anymore, Alex said, guiding him backward toward the bed. They collapsed onto the mattress in a heap of laughter and tangled limbs, the initial awkwardness giving way to comfort. "Wait," Jordan said suddenly, propping himself up on an elbow. "Our parents are away for the weekend at that conference, but we still need to be cautious. What if someone drops by unexpectedly?" "I know," Alex replied, brushing a stray lock from Jordan's forehead. "We don't have to rush. We've got time to ease into this. Do we?" Jordan's eyes searched his, vulnerability shining through. "You're not going to vanish on me again, right? Back to Chicago without a word?" "Never," Alex promised, pressing kisses to Jordan's forehead, cheeks, and finally his lips. "I'm all in. Yours, if you want me." "Always," Jordan whispered, his voice breaking with emotion. "I've been yours from the start." They spent the afternoon cocooned in the room, alternating between passionate kisses and heartfelt conversations. Jordan opened up about his architecture firm, the demanding projects that kept him up late, the mentor who'd pushed him to innovate, and the side hustle he had, a blog on sustainable design that was gaining traction. Alex shared stories from Chicago, the gallery shows where his illustrations had been featured, the freelance gigs that paid the bills, the string of dates that fizzled because no one compared to Jordan. "I'd draw skylines in crowds," Alex said, but they all felt hollow, like I was missing the spark. As the sun dipped lower, Jordan's curiosity piqued. "Show me your work. I want to see what you've created." Alex grabbed his tablet from his bag, and they settled against the pillows, scrolling through digital sketches, vibrant cityscapes, intricate character designs, abstract pieces born from late-night inspiration. "These are stunning," Jordan said, zooming in on a detailed rendering of the Chicago River at sunset. "Alex, you're incredibly gifted. The way you capture light and emotion, it's mesmerizing." "Thanks," Alex murmured, more focused on Jordan's rapt expression than the art itself. "But looking back, I see what's lacking. Passion. They were good, but detached. Now, I want to create something alive, something that tells a story." Jordan smiled, tracing a finger over the screen. "Want a model? I could pose for you." Alex chuckled. "You? The guy who hates being in photos? We'll see." As twilight crept in, hunger finally drove them from the bed. They ventured back to the kitchen, but the space felt transformed, charged with intimacy. They cooked together seamlessly, Jordan chopping onions while Alex stirred a sauce, pausing for stolen kisses and playful touches. "I could get addicted to this," Jordan said, slipping his arms around Alex from behind, nuzzling his neck. "Me too," Alex agreed, turning in his embrace. "But reality check. Mom and Dad return Sunday. How do we play this?" "Discreetly," Jordan said, his tone serious. "Act normal around them. No slip-ups, while we plan how to come clean." "And if it's a disaster?" Alex asked, voicing the fear gnawing at him. "If they can't accept it." Jordan spun him around, hands on his shoulders. "Then we face it head on. But I'm not letting go. This isn't wrong, it's us. And our parents. They love us. Deep down, they'll want our happiness." Alex nodded, pulling him into a hug. "You're right. We'll make it work." That night, as they lay entwined under the covers, whispering plans for the future secret dates, weekend getaways, building a life that honored their love without fracturing the family, they felt a fragile hope bloom. It was risky, yes, but for the first time, the impossible seemed within reach. As the candlelight flickered across the table, casting warm shadows on the walls of the quiet house, I couldn't shake the words he'd said earlier. They'll see that this is real, that we make each other happy. They'll understand. They have to. I hoped Noah was right. But for now, as we sat down to our intimate dinner, just the two of us, I shoved those nagging worries deep down. This moment was ours, a bubble of bliss in a world that might not approve, and I wanted to savor it, to revel in this unexpected, incredible connection we'd discovered. "What are you thinking about?" Noah asked, his eyes meeting mine over the soft glow of the flames, a gentle smile playing on his lips. "That I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. His smile widened, bright and radiant like dawn breaking through clouds. Me too. After dinner, we migrated to the couch, glasses of red wine in hand. The conversation flowing effortlessly as it always did with him. We talked about everything and nothing, our favorite books, childhood memories, dreams we'd never shared with anyone else. Hours slipped away unnoticed until at some point, exhaustion claimed us. We fell asleep entwined, his head on my chest, my arms around him. The world fading into peaceful oblivion. I stirred awake to the soft gray light of early morning filtering through the curtains, accompanied by the rhythmic sound of Noah's breathing. For a few precious minutes, I just lay there, watching him sleep. This kind, talented man who'd somehow become the center of my universe. His dark hair tousled, lashes casting shadows on his cheeks. He was breathtaking. "I can feel you staring," he mumbled, eyes still shut, a sleepy grin tugging at his mouth. "I can't help it. You're stare-worthy." He cracked one eye open. "That's not even a word." "It is now," chuckled as he laughed and pulled me closer, his warmth enveloping me. "Good morning," he said, his voice husky from sleep. "Morning." I leaned in for a soft, lingering kiss. "Sleep okay?" "Best I've slept in ages." He stretched languidly, then asked, "What time is it?" I reached for my phone on the side table, and my heart plummeted. "It's 9 a.m., and Mom just texted they're coming home early. They'll be here in 2 hours." Reality hit like a cold wave. Noah sat up, raking his fingers through his hair, his expression shifting from relaxed to tense. Okay. This is fine. We just go back to normal. Act like we always have. Can you do that? Act like nothing's changed when everything has?" I echoed, the words tasting bitter, but I nodded. "I'll have to." He cupped my face gently, his touch grounding me. "But Ryan, this isn't over. We'll find moments, find ways. I'm not losing you again. You won't, I promised." My voice steady, despite the storm inside. We spent the next 2 hours in a frenzy, tidying the house, erasing every trace of our weekend together, the scattered clothes, the half-empty wine bottles, the lingering scent of our closeness. By the time Mom and Robert walked through the door, their voices animated with stories from their trip, Noah and I were in separate rooms. He was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for lunch. I was in the living room, pretending to focus on my laptop.
"Oh, boys."
"We're home," Mom called out cheerfully. I looked up, forcing a casual smile. "Hey, how was the trip?" "Wonderful," Robert said, coming over to tousle my hair like he always did, his paternal affection unchanged for now. "But it's good to be back." "How was your weekend?" "Quiet," Noah replied from the kitchen doorway, his gaze meeting mine for a split second across the room, a spark hidden in his eyes. "Really good." The secret hummed between us, precious yet perilous. This was our new normal. Stolen glances, concealed smiles, a love that dared not speak aloud. But as I watched Noah retreat back to the kitchen, catching that quick backward glance he threw my way, I knew deep down it would be worth every risk. Whatever challenges lay ahead, we'd face them side by side. The following weeks unfolded in a bizarre split existence. Our public and private selves divided like two sides of a coin. In front of Mom and Robert, we were just stepbrothers cordial, distant enough to avoid suspicion, always appropriate. I'd landed a freelance job designing graphics for a local tech startup, and Noah had taken on extra hours at the coffee shop where he worked as a barista, dreaming of opening his own one day. We maintained separate schedules, separate lives on the surface. But in the hidden pockets of time, the late-night hours when our parents slept, Noah would sneak into my room. We'd tangle together under the covers, whispering about our days, sharing secrets and aspirations, gasking a future where we didn't have to hide. Sometimes we didn't even talk. We'd just hold each other, the simple act of being close, more intoxicating than words could express. I think my boss, Alina, suspects something, Noah confided one night, his head resting on my chest, my fingers weaving through his soft curls. Why is that? I keep grinning at my phone whenever you text. She asked if I'd met someone special. He tilted his head up to look at me, his eyes vulnerable. I wanted to say yes so badly. To tell her all about you? What did you say? That it's complicated. He let out a soft laugh, which is the biggest understatement ever. I pressed a kiss to his forehead. We'll figure out when to tell people. When the timing feels right, and if it never does? He asked, his voice laced with quiet fear. Then we make it right, I replied, holding him tighter. But I got it, living in secrecy was wearing us down. Every touch we suppressed in public, every calculated distance we kept, it eroded a piece of our joy. It was toughest at family dinners, sitting across from Noah, my eyes drawn to his hands as they gestured while he spoke. Memories flooding back of how those hands felt, tracing patterns on my skin. I'd have to pretend he was nothing more than my stepbrother, nodding along as Mom prodded us about our love lives. You should get out more, Ryan, she'd said one evening over roast chicken. Meet some people. You've been buried in work since you moved back from Seattle. I'm fine, Mom, really? What about that friend from your design program, Mia? You two seemed close. Mia's engaged now, I said, carefully avoiding Noah's gaze across the table. And I'm not looking for a relationship right now. What about you, sweetie? Mom turned to Noah. Any special someone we should know about? Noah's jaw clenched subtly, but he kept his tone light. Nah, just focusing on work, Robert chuckled. You two are too young to be so work-obsessed. Live a little. Go on dates. Have some fun. If only he knew the irony. Later, as Noah and I washed dishes side by side, we waited in tense silence until our parents drifted to the living room for their evening TV ritual. I hate this, Noah whispered fiercely. Scrubbing a plate with more force than necessary. I hate lying to them every day. Me too. I glanced at him. Maybe we should just tell them. His hand stilled on the sink edge. Are you ready for that? No, he admitted, turning to face me, his eyes stormy. But I don't know if I'll ever be. And this double life, it's killing me. What if we wait a bit longer? Until we're sure? Sure of what? He interrupted, voice rising slightly. That they'll accept us. They won't, Ryan. How could they? We're their sons. We're not blood-related, I countered softly. That has to count for something. It won't matter to them. His voice broke and he looked away. Maybe this was all a mistake. Maybe we should just don't. I grabbed his hand, heedless of the risk. Don't say we're a mistake. Don't even think it. Then what do we do? He pleaded, his grip tight on mine. Because I can't keep pretending you're just my brother. I can't act like I don't love you. Before I could answer, footsteps echoed from the hall. We jerked apart just as Robert entered. Everything all right in here? He asked, eyeing us curiously. Fine, Noah said too quickly. Just planning tomorrow's dinner. Robert studied us for a beat, and I wondered if he sensed the undercurrent. But he just nodded. Well, don't stay up too late. You both look wiped out. Once he was gone, the silence hung heavy. My room, Noah finally murmured. 30 minutes. When I slipped into his room later, he was perched on the bed, knees drawn up, looking lost. Sorry about earlier, he said right away. I didn't mean, I know. Sat beside him, taking his hand. This is hard for both of us. I feel like we're on borrowed time, he confessed. Like these moments are all we have, and soon something's going to shatter it all. He wasn't wrong. We'd grown careless, lingering stares, brushes of hands that lasted a second too long. It was inevitable someone would notice.
Ow.
We tell them, I decided. Soon, this week, maybe? Really? His eyes searched mine. Really? You're right, we can't live like this. Better from us than them figuring it out. He laced our fingers together. What if they kick us out? We'll figure it out. Get our own place. On what? I'm a barista, you're freelancing graphics. We'll make it work. I pulled him close. Oh, no, I'm not losing you. No matter what they say, I'm choosing you. He kissed me then, fierce and urgent, as if sealing a vow. We tumbled back onto the bed, losing ourselves in each other. These hidden interludes were our refuge, the only space where we could be unapologetically us. I love you, he whispered against my lips. God, I love you so much. I love you too. We stayed up until dawn's first light, talking, dreaming aloud in an apartment downtown. Me with a design studio, him running his own cafe, life free from shadows. Do you think we're being naive? Noah asked as the sky brightened. Believing it could work? Maybe, I admitted. But I'd rather be naive and fight for it than give up. He smiled, weary but genuine. Okay, so when do we tell them? Saturday. Mom wants a family dinner. We'll do it then. It's only 3 days away. I know. Time to plan what we'll say. He nodded, but the fear in his eyes mirrored my own. Confessing would make this irreversible, but it also promised liberation, no more deceit. We dozed off in each other's arms, and for those fleeting hours, life felt uncomplicated. The next 3 days blurred into a whirlwind of nerves and rehearsal. Noah and I role-played our speech, refining how to explain our feelings. We scoured online forums for stories of other step-siblings who'd found love as adults there. Weren't many, but the ones we found sparked hope. Mostly, though, we clung to each other for strength. Saturday dawned too soon. Mom had requested Noah whip up something special, his signature espresso-rubbed steak with herb butter. He'd been in the kitchen since noon, pouring his anxiety into every chop and stir. I found him there as dusk fell, tension etched in his furrowed brow. Hey, I said gently, leaning against the counter. How are you holding up? I've remade this marinade 4 times. It's still off. His hands trembled as he stirred. It's perfect. You're just on edge. He set the spoon down, exhaling shakily. Ryan, what if this destroys everything? What if they never forgive us? I drew him into a hug, ignoring the open door. Then we handle it together. Together, he echoed, his voice muffled against my shoulder. Dinner was a masterpiece. Candlelit table, fine wine, Noah's flawless meal. Mom and Robert were in high spirits, chatting about a cruise they were booking. You boys should join us, Mom suggested. Caribbean in spring sounds perfect, right? Noah and I shared a loaded glance. A family vacation? The irony stung. Actually, I said, setting my fork down with a clink, there's something Noah and I need to discuss with you both. The air thickened. Mom's smile wavered. Robert lowered his glass. Sounds serious, he said cautiously. It is. My pulse thundered. Under the table, Noah's hand found mine, steadying me. No easy way to say it, so I'll be straightforward. Ryan, Mom interjected, worry creasing her face. Are you okay? Is it health-related? No, nothing like that. We're both fine. I squeezed Noah's hand. But things have changed. We need you to know. Oh no, Robert muttered, paling. You're moving out? Back to Seattle? No, Noah chimed in. Not that. Then what? Mom's eyes darted between us, landing on our clasped hands. Her breath hitched. Oh. The word carried volumes shock, dawning comprehension. Mom, I began. Are you too? She trailed off, unable to voice it. Robert's gaze followed hers, his face morphing from confusion to realization to disbelief. We're together, Noah said, his voice surprisingly firm. We have real feelings for each other. We've been figuring out how to tell you because it's messy and unexpected. But we can't hide anymore. Silence descended, thick and suffocating. How long? Mom whispered finally. The feelings. Years, I admitted. Since we met, really. But we've only acted on them the past few weeks. Years? Robert's tone sharpened. And you said nothing? What could we say? Noah countered, heat rising. Thanks for the blended family, oh, by the way. I'm falling for your stepson. There's no guidebook for this, Dad. Don't call me that right now, Robert snapped, then winced. Sorry, I just need to process. This is... Mom rubbed her temples. I don't know what to think. Your brother's legally. Yes, I said. But we met as adults. No blood ties. These feelings. They just happened. Feelings don't just happen, she replied, tears welling. You choose to act or not. Could have seen each other as family, but instead we fell in love, Noah finished softly. I'm sorry if it hurts. Sorry it's not what you wanted. But I'm not sorry for loving Ryan. Robert shoved back his chair, standing abruptly. I need air. He stormed out. Mom stared at her plate, unmoving. Mom, I pleaded gently. Say something. What do you want? That I'm thrilled. Her eyes lifted, glistening. This feels like a betrayal of our family. Betrayal. Noah's voice cracked. We fell in love. How is that betrayal? 'Cause you're brothers. People will judge us all. This is... She shook her head. I can't. I need to check on Robert. She fled, leaving us in the ruins of our revelation. Well, Noah said with a bitter laugh, that went worse than my nightmares. Give them time. Shock does that. They looked at us like freaks. No, I insisted, facing him, shocked, not disgusted. Big difference. Is there? His eyes brimmed with pain. Maybe they're right. Maybe we are. Stop. I cupped his face. We're not wrong. We're two people who found beauty in chaos. If they can't accept it, we'll forge our path. You mean it? Absolutely. He kissed me then, bold and fierce, a spark of rebellion amid the hurt. Our parents stayed upstairs for hours. Noah and I cleared the table in numb quiet, minds racing with what-ifs. Around 10 p.m., footsteps descended. They appeared in the doorway, drained Mom's eyes puffy, Robert haggard. Sit, Robert said. We complied on the couch. I took the armchairs opposite, the room feeling like an interrogation chamber. We've talked, Mom began hesitantly, trying to wrap our heads around this. And I prompted, when she paused. It's going to take time, Robert said. We can't just snap our fingers and accept it. But Mom added gently, you're adults. We can't dictate who you love. Hope sparked in me. That doesn't mean approval, Robert clarified, or understanding, but... He glanced at Mom, a silent exchange passing. We love you both. It hasn't changed, despite the complications. What does that mean in practice? Noah asked warily. We're not throwing you out, Mom said. But we need space, boundaries. Respect how hard this is for us. Get it, I replied. And we're sorry for springing it like that. Could have handled it better. Why not tell us sooner? Mom asked. When it started, we were terrified, Noah confessed. Of this exact reaction, of wrecking your marriage, the family. Your relationship doesn't touch our marriage, Robert said firmly. We're solid. What worries us is society judgments, your futures. Kids someday? How do you explain their dads were stepbrothers? Truthfully, Noah said, we met as adults, chose love. Our parents' marriage doesn't define us, Robert sighed. It's not that easy. Maybe it should be, I murmured. Another heavy pause, this one thoughtful rather than hostile. One question, Mom said. Be honest. Is this real? Or just attraction from living together? Real, Noah affirmed. I've never felt this for anyone. Dated others, tried forgetting, nothing stuck. Because they weren't Ryan. In Seattle, I built a life, dated, but Noah was always in my mind. Coming home, it was inevitable. Mom and Robert shared a profound look. Okay, Robert said at last. We'll try to understand, accept. But give us time, of course, I said, relief washing over me. And prepare for others' reactions, Mom warned. Not everyone will try like we are. We know, Noah replied. Therapy? Robert suggested. A professional to help navigate? We're open, I agreed. Mom rose, sitting between us, clasping our hands. I love you both. I want your happiness. But this adjusts everything, Noah said, emotion choking him. Good. She squeezed. Bed now, this night's drained me. Tomorrow, we plan as a family. It's a family, Robert echoed, standing. His face held mixed feelings. I'm not overjoyed, but you seem truly happy. That matters. After they left, Noah and I sat dazed. Did that happen? He whispered, yeah, no disowning. They'll try. His smile dawned like hope. Ryan, we did it. World intact. For now, I teased, grinning back. Long road, but together. Together. I held him, marveling at our resilience of family redefined. Months later, morning sun poured into our modest apartment. I woke to coffee's aroma and baking scents, Noah's offkey humming from the kitchen. Grabbing my sketch pad and old ritual to capture fleeting beauty, patted in. He was kneading dough for fresh scones, flour speckling his arms, focus intense. He was stunning. I sketched quickly. He glanced up, startled, then beamed. No art before caffeine, he mock protested. Sorry, irresistible. He poured me coffee, kissed me tenderly. Morning, morning. I hugged him. Occasion. Your big pitch today, that startup logo reveal. Deserve a power breakfast. Nerves and thrill bubbled. Today, presenting my designs to potential investors. Nervous, he read me. Terrified, but ready. Parents coming to celebrate after? Yeah, all of them. It had taken 6 months therapy sessions, raw talks, trust rebuilt. Mom and Robert had warmed, even scouting this apartment for us. My bio dad, who'd reconnected recently, was chill. Love's love, who cares? Noah's bio mom took longer, but softened at our housewarming, seeing our joy. It's gonna rock, Noah assured. You're brilliant. I corrected. These months taught us, united, we conquered judgments, fears, doubts. That evening at the presentation venue, surrounded by my work and impressed clients, fulfillment swelled. Mom and Robert arrived, beaming. They lingered on a collaborative piece. Noah and I designed a logo blending coffee motifs with graphic flair. It's stunning, Mom said, teary. You two are stunning together. As the crowd thinned, Noah took my hand amid the clutter. Ryan, he said softly, something to ask. My pulse raced. Yeah. He produced a small box. My breath catching. 6 months official, but we've fought hard for us. I want to fight forever. Inside, matching titanium rings. Will you marry me? Around us, designs celebrated creativity's chaos. We were adding our verse. Yes, I laughed, tears flowing. Yes, 1,000 times. He slid the ring on. Our kiss sealed promises won through trials. In the end, our stepbrother origins, society's norms, twists none mattered. We've chosen love. Built beauty from improbability. Walking home under twinkling lights, hands linked. I reflected on our path from that first charged kitchen encounter to engagement. Embraced by loved ones. What are you thinking? Noah squeezed my hand. That I'm right where I belong. His smile lit my world. Me too. Always. As stars mirrored city glow, I knew our story's finest chapters awaited.